What's up, guys? This is my preview for week 13 of the college football season. But unfortunately, this week, Thanksgiving weekend games are really not that good. Usually, in years past, they're marquee matchups like the game Michigan, Ohio State, South Carolina, Clemson, the Florida Cup between Florida and FSU, and really games like that. But this week, we only have a couple interesting games. Um, I did the best that I can when it comes to picking only those games. So I really only have 6 previews. Well, I hope you enjoyed my predictions. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
First game of this Thanksgiving weekend, we have number 13 Iowa State at number 17 Texas at 12 o'clock on ABC. This is a huge game, has college football playoff implications, and more importantly, it has Big 12 championship implications. These two teams are going to be in the mix for the Big 12 championship with Oklahoma all throughout the rest of the season. This is a huge game. And really, looking at the trends for these two teams, Iowa State started at number 23, ranked in the AP poll. They lost to Louisiana. They dropped to unranked, and they worked their way up at number 13. They're 6-2 on the season. While Texas, they started off at number 14, and they've been up and down really this season. They have disappointed. 2 years ago they had a win in the Sugar Bowl over Georgia, and really since then they haven't really been able to find their footing. And right now they are 5-2. They have been winning well, but not really what Texas fans expected. While Iowa State, they're good but not great. A very typical season, but they are atop of the Big Ten at 6-1. This is a huge game. I really look for Iowa State to bolster the rushing attack led by Brees Hall, over 1,100 yards and 6.5 yards per carry. They're first in the Big 12 in rushing, and look for that to be a big key in the Iowa State's offense. While Texas, they're a good passing team led by Sam Ellinger, 22 touchdowns, 5 picks. They are fourth in the Big 12 in passing. They're very middle of the pack in both offensive categories, rushing and passing. But I think passing will be the more explosive way for Texas to attack. And I think really it's going to be a close game. The last game that Iowa State, they really put a thumping on Kansas State, 45-0. It was a great performance all around. That's all I got to say for them. And really Texas, this is going to be a problem coming in. The last game they beat West Virginia 17-13, but that was on November 7th. And their game on November 21st was canceled due to COVID. And that game at Kansas was postponed to December 12th. So they are going to be a bit rusty for this game. Really, this is going to be a huge game with Big 12 championship implications on the line. Really, if Iowa State wins, they're all but going to be in the Big 12 championship game at 7-1. Well, if Texas wins out, they control their destiny to make the Big 12 championship. So really, the Big 12 championship game is going to come down to Iowa State, Texas, and Oklahoma. And really, I think Iowa State is going to edge out Texas. And I think it's going to be a really close game. Texas is favored by -1, but I got Iowa State with the upset. I think they're going to win 34-31. I think it's going to be a decently high-scoring game. But for me, the difference is the rushing attack led by Brees Hall. I think their time of possession will be crucial in this game, and I think they'll hold the ball for longer, which is why I think they'll pull out a big win. And I think they'll end up facing Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. On Friday at 3:30 on ABC, we have the game of the week. Number 2 Notre Dame at number 19 UNC. This is a huge matchup in the ACC championship implications. And Notre Dame is coming in winning 14 consecutive games dating back to last season and closing in on the ACC championship game next month after a win over number 1 Clemson on November 7th at home, 47-40. On the other side, North Carolina is 6-2, and they have 2 unranked losses to FSU and University of Virginia. Really, the key matchup for today is North Carolina's offense versus Notre Dame's defense. North Carolina is led by quarterback Sam Howell, who is 4th in the nation with 2,631 yards and also 4th in the nation with 23 touchdowns. He is aided by running backs Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, both averaging over 100 yards per game on the ground, and wide receiver De'Ami Brown, who ranks top 10 in touchdowns and helps to spread the ball down the field and score touchdowns for this high-powered UNC offense. This UNC offense will be facing a stout Fighting Irish defense. They're one of the best defensive teams, allowing just 85 yards on the ground, 4th in the FBS. 304 total yards and just 16.6 points a game. And the star on the Notre Dame defense is linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He is a big linebacker, and he's third on the team in tackles and has a team best 8.5 tackles per loss, and had a huge game, including a fumble return for a touchdown versus number one Clemson to help them get the win. Really, this is a huge game. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, but I think Notre Dame, who's favored by 5.5, will get the win, 47-40, and they will face Clemson in the ACC championship game for a chance at the college football playoff. This is going to be a quick one. We have 4th-ranked Ohio State, 4-0, first in the Big Ten East against Illinois, 2-3, 5th in the Big Ten West, from Memorial Stadium in Illinois at 12 o'clock on FS1 on Saturday. This is going to be a decent, not really a great game. I expect Ohio State to win, but really, the reason I'm making this game is because I want to see what Illinois got. This is a measuring stick game. They won 2 in a row, including an impressive win over Nebraska on the road, where they were 16.5-point underdogs. And of course, they covered that spread handily, winning 41-23. And they're led by their rushing attack. Surprising. Their rushing attack is 24th in the nation at 222 yards per game. And they're led by running backs Mike Epstein and Chase Brown, both having pretty good seasons, and surprisingly, Illinois is moving the ball against an Ohio State defense that was very vulnerable, but in the past, they were pretty vulnerable in the past defense. Last week they played 9th-ranked Indiana. They won 42-35. They survived a big comeback, but they gave a lot of big plays up to Michael Penix in the Indiana offense, which is a little scary coming into this game, because if they struggle against Illinois' run offense, there's going to be a lot of questions for Ohio State. And this is a big game for Ohio State because they need to look good in the eye test for this playoff committee, because they don't have many games left. And they only have 4 games right now on the schedule, and they looked shaky last week, so they're going to need to look really good in this game. So really, Ohio State is favored by 28 points. I think they're going to get the win handily. I think Illinois will be able to move the ball and score some points. I got Ohio State 52, Illinois 20. We've got undefeated Penn State. We've got undefeated Michigan at 7:30 on ABC. Wait, nope. What a dream that was. 2 teams, Penn State and Michigan. Every year, we're going to make the college football playoff. We're going to make the national championship. And I've been following Michigan for 8-9 years since their Denard Robinson days, and I was a fan of them for a while until a couple years ago. And I realized every year they're ranked in the top 25 to make a championship run, and every year they fall short. And now these 2 teams with championship aspirations every year now became the doormats of the Big Ten. An 0-5 Penn State team, last in the Big Ten East, looking abysmal, both offensively and defensively. I can't tell which one's worse. Against Michigan, supposed to be hyped up, they beat their first game, a good game, against a ranked Minnesota team at the time, which now looks terrible as well. So basically that game meant nothing. And right now they're 2-3. They barely got by in triple overtime against Rutgers. The one good news is they may have found a quarterback, Cade McNamara, throws for 4 touchdowns, no picks. But it is against Rutgers, who's improving, but it's Rutgers, not a good team. And against a couple good teams, Wisconsin and Indiana, they lose by 38 and 17 respectively. No game, no contest. So basically, this game is actually at 12 o'clock on ABC. Michigan is 2.5-point favorites. And for the sake of being a Michigan fan for a while, I'm probably going to take Michigan. I was a fan of Joe Milton coming into the season. He looked good. Everybody thought they found their quarterback. Milton ends up throwing 4 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season, just 200 yards per game. Doesn't get much help. Receivers dropping passes, running backs not consistent enough. And really, the reality is they're very inconsistent. And Jim Harbaugh's pro-style offense does not fit in college football. That's what I think. He tries to go with pro-style, run the ball up the gut, and then he randomly switches it to let's throw the ball down the field, and it doesn't work to me. It doesn't, and it shows in their stats. They're 30th in passing yards due to the fact that they start really bad at games, so they gotta pass their way to get back into it. And they're dead almost pretty much last or in rushing yards per game, barely 120 yards, which is pretty bad. And really, that's really it. I mean, Michigan's defense isn't great either. They love to play man to man, and then they get burned by crossing routes and big post routes for big gains and touchdowns. And it seems like it's the same thing every year. And for Penn State, quarterback Sean Clifford has been an absolute bust. Terrible. He was supposed to be Heisman candidate, looking great, dual threat. But this year he has 11 touchdowns, 8 picks, 5 fumbles. I mean, he's been a turnover machine, not good. The running game isn't great either, and just like Michigan, if they fall behind early, they gotta pass their way in games, and then they end up losing, throwing turnovers and fumbles. So really, the reality of this game is, this was supposed to be a championship game. This was supposed to be a great game, prime time, deciding the Big Ten, those two teams, and Ohio State. In reality, I think they got what they deserve. They're both dumpster fire programs. They're pretty bad. They don't deserve to be anywhere near a top 25 ranking right now. And just for the sake of it, I'll go with 31-30 Michigan. How about that? Next game up, we've got unranked Pittsburgh, 5-4, 6th in the ACC, again at number 4 Clemson, 7-1, 2nd in the ACC. This is a pretty intriguing game for me. I think, of course, Clemson's favored by a lot, but I think this can be a little bit of a trap game. Good. I think Pitt's got a chance, and I think mainly because of their quarterback Kenny Pickett. At one point, he was leading the FBS through, I believe, 3 games in passing yards, and then he got injured, but he's come back for a couple games, and Pittsburgh has won 2 straight and dominating wins, 47-14 over Virginia Tech and 41-17 over Florida State. And on the other side, Clemson Tigers, their last game November 7th, they lost to Notre Dame, and they've had a game postponed due to COVID, and they haven't played in a while, but they do get Trevor Lawrence back, which is huge. Trevor Lawrence has 17 touchdowns, 2 picks, averaging over 300 yards per game. Pretty much consensus number 1 pick in next year's draft. I mean, he's a huge player. And he also has Travis Etienne on this side, 5.2 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns. I mean, they got weapons all around. But what I want to see is how the Pitt offense, passing offense, does against this Clemson defense. In the last 2 games against Notre Dame and Boston College, they gave over 300 or 400 yards per game to quarterbacks Ian Book and Phil Jurkovec. So I think this is going to be a huge game for Kenny Pickett. I think Pitt can keep it close in the first half. I do think Clemson will win for sure. But give me Pitt to cover the spread, the upset. I got Clemson 49, Pitt 28. Pitt covers the spread. This is the last game I want to look at in my preview and predictions video. Well, 22nd ranked Auburn, 5-2, 3rd in the SEC West, against undefeated number 1, 7-0, 1st in the SEC West, Alabama Crimson Tide. This is the last game. I just want to make a note. It's the last game I'm doing in the preview and predictions video because I do think the rest of the games, Northwestern at Michigan State, UG at South Carolina, that pretty Texas A&M at LSU, I think that all the favorites are going to win. All the ranked teams are going to blow them out. So I think this is the last game I really want to take a look at, just to note. So Auburn versus Alabama. This is going to be a huge game in the Iron Bowl. Alabama looking to stay undefeated and enter the college football playoff in the SEC championship game undefeated. Most likely Alabama will be facing 6th ranked Florida in the SEC championship game, but first they got to get through the Auburn Tigers. The Auburn Tigers they won their last 3 games. They had a close one on October 24th at Mississippi, winning by touchdown, and they struggled a bit against Tennessee, which is surprising because Tennessee has struggled too. They won only 30-17 against Tennessee, and they're led by quarterback Bo Nix, who has 10 touchdowns and 5 picks, but he's really struggled, underperformed this season, especially after the hype he had last season. He had a game-winning pass in his very first game against Oregon, and it kind of went downhill, rocky road. They beat Alabama and Mac Jones last season, but really this season they've kind of underperformed. They've been up and down, in and out of the top 25 rankings, and right now they are in it, and they are facing Alabama and Heisman candidate Mac Jones, 18 touchdowns, 3 picks, a whopping 350 yards per game. I mean, the guy's just throwing it all over the field. He's got Devontae Smith to help him out, 65 receptions, over 14 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns. Another Heisman candidate, Najee Harris, 137 rushes, 5.8 yards per carry, and 10 touchdowns with 114 yards per game. I mean, he's amazing. Sorry, I apologize. 16 touchdowns. They've got Heisman candidates all over. They did lose Jalen Waddle, another wide receiver early in the season, so that's been Devontae Smith's been having to carry the load. And really, their last game they put a shellacking on Kentucky, 63-3. And the game before they shut out Mississippi State. I mean, really, their offense is rolling, their defense is getting back to its championship form. I mean, really, this is going to be a huge game. I do think they're going to win. They have the third highest. Alabama has the third highest scoring offense in the nation, almost 50 points a game. Third best passing offense. I mean, they've got it all. Last year in the Iron Bowl, Mac Jones threw for 335 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 pick sixes, which are huge. And that's the big question. Can Auburn's defense create turnovers and stop Mac Jones and the Alabama's passing attack? Auburn's just allowing 237 yards in the air, so I think they'll have a shot if they stop them. But I do think Alabama, who are huge favorites, 24.5, they will win. I think they'll put up 52 points is about right. And I think they'll win 52-21. I don't see Auburn staying in it. Their offense isn't sputtering. And I think Alabama will just blow the roads off this game in the second half.